President John Taylor addressed the conference in relation to the accusations made against the Latter-day Saints by their traducers to the effect that they are immoral and corrupt. He stated that he would not dwell upon the crimes of the accusers of the saints if we were not on the defensive, but they made it imperative that they should be exposed. At the President's request, President George Buchanan read criminal statistics of Utah, taken from the official records, showing that over 10 times the amount of crime is committed in the territory, proportionately, by non-Mormons than by people professing to be Mormons. He continued to speak for some time upon the corruptions, chicanery, and perfidy practiced upon the Latter-day Saints by designing schemers. He asserted that great numbers of honorable people despised these outrageous doings as much as we do. President Cannon, at the request of the Speaker, then read statistics from papers published by notable Eastern authorities, showing the horribly immoral condition of society in the New England states. Resuming, President Taylor said that these people described by the statements read are those who are so horrified by the immoral situation in Utah, and from them come our would-be reformers. He was gratified that men could be found who are ready to denounce such abominable practices. His purpose in having these statements read in relation to infanticide and other crimes was twofold. One was to exhibit the true character of those who perpetuated them, and the other was to warn the saints against such characters, some of whom were endeavoring to insinuate themselves into the society and houses of the people of God. No such persons should have any lot or place among the saints, and on no consideration could they be permitted to enjoy the privileges of the gospel. He warned the officers of the church against giving recommends to adulterers, murderers, or either men or women who are guilty of the unnatural crimes which have been defined in the extracts which have been presented. He directed that those guilty of such practices be cut off from the church, and requested that all who favored this view should say aye. The response was a shout of ayes that seemed almost to make the building tremble. President Taylor then changed the tenor of his discourse, branching from the temporal affairs of the saints. He gave an interesting review of the experiences of the saints in this connection in the past. There had been a depression of late in monetary affairs, and improvements in the shape of new buildings that had not been so numerous recently as some time ago. He described a visit by himself and associates in the priesthood to what are now known as the Bannock and Oneida Stakes, where the land and other facilities are good and settlements are growing up. More people are wanted to help develop those portions of the country, and a similar situation exists in the South. Those who are out of employment are wanted to go to such places where there is plenty of room. There are room and opportunities for all kinds of mechanics, especially in the building lines, as well as other branches of business in Bannock and other outlying stakes, and those who had no work in the older settled parts should make their way to the more sparsely populated portions of the country. The Speaker had advised in the newly formed settlements that when the people build houses, they should construct them according to a comely and intelligent plan, that beautiful homes may be reared. Those who wished to adopt this advice about going into the country should call upon Bishop Preston, that the method of getting to those places may be decided upon. In answer to questions put by President Taylor to President Ricks of Bannock and President Hendricks of Oneida Stake as to whether they could employ a number of new settlers acquainted with the various branches of industry, they responded in the affirmative. The next topic touched upon was the situation of ZCMI, which was established for the purpose of furthering the interests of cooperation in mercantile and manufacturing directions. It is in a solid and flourishing condition, notwithstanding the general stringency of the times. There is not a better nor safer institution in this territory. There are a number of Mormon and non-Mormon stores, and ZCMI does more in relation to home manufacturers than all of these put together. The Speaker then read a concise statement in regard to what the institution has done in that line. He also stated that arrangements had been made to conduct the industry of manufacturing clothing, and for the furtherance of this branch it had agreed with the Provo Woolen Factory for the purchase of its entire product of cloth. In the same connection of home enterprises, the Deseret News Company had erected a paper mill with a capacity for manufacturing all the paper of various qualities needed in the territory, although a good deal of progress was being made. The Board of Trade should bestir themselves and help to accelerate these industries, that we may gradually become self-supporting. President Taylor expressed regret at the carelessness that had been exhibited by many people indebted to the Perpetual Emigration Fund. 4 years ago, $800,000 of the amount due that fund had been forgiven to those owing it. About the same amount as that named still remained upon the books, And since then, but 25,000 of that sum had been refunded by individual obligation. This was a lamentable showing, and if the law of God were applied to those who have been so negligent in relation to paying their just debts, and thus robbed the poor of their rights, some of them would have to be severed from the church.